wanted to go live, hang out with the fans, and talk a little bit about commercial real estate. And figured this would be the best way to do it. Tomorrow I'm speaking at an event. We're talking about commercial real estate, how to make money in real estate. I got a business planning workshop coming up. If you guys are interested in getting access to our business planning workshop, which is going to be December 10th, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time, make sure you guys register. We're going to be giving out links. You can email us at info@henryeisenstein.com. It's going to be dropped down. Good to see you, Daniel. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about commercial real estate. A few things that I got going on in the business right now. A few deals that we're working on. So if you guys have any questions, drop them in the chat box down below. We're going to treat this like a one-on-one type of session. I am itching to smoke a cigar. My wife's away at a retreat, and wanted to spend time with my people. So thank you guys for tuning in. So a couple things right now. One of the biggest things I'm working on is trying to acquire more commercial real estate. I'm in contract to buy almost $8 million worth of real estate right now, and just made another offer on yesterday, actually. Another offer yesterday. So we're trying to acquire as much real estate as humanly possible. My goal is that, for me, when I'm looking at a deal, let's talk about what actually makes a deal, what doesn't make a deal. So what's important, because I feel like a big mistake that people make when they're trying to invest in commercial real estate, or even as an agent, okay, is that they don't understand how to underwrite property. So they end up doing deals that don't make any sense, don't make any money. And that's one of my biggest pet peeves, okay, because I do so much content on underwriting throughout my all the videos here on social. So it can be very, very simplistic, but so for me, I'm looking for an average internal rate of return of 25% or more, okay? And we look for a value-add product. We look for, industrial shopping center. We look for industrial properties like warehouses. We look for shopping centers, and we look for multifamily. Very simple, easy stuff. Sure, we'll do a little bit of self-storage. Sure, we'll do a little bit of, a few other things here and there. But I like simple ABC 1, 2, 3 stuff. I like buying it at a discount. Putting a little bit of money in it, some time, energy, and effort. A little bit of good operating on the management side, getting vacancy filled up. What have you, and increasing the value of the asset, okay? That is the cleanest, simplest stuff when you're looking at commercial real estate. However, most people make huge mistakes when it comes to it. They make huge mistakes. Let's talk about a few of them. Number one, they try to do... one of the big mistakes is they do too small of stuff, okay? When you're looking at a smaller deal, it's harder to make big money, okay? So when you guys are looking at deals, and obviously, look, everyone's got a lot of people need to start small. That's a very normal thing, okay? It's very normal for people to start small. Like if you're gonna do a deal individually, you can start small, okay? However, if you're doing deals with partners and you're raising money and doing all this kind of stuff, you don't need to start small. You need to start with a good deal. Okay, this was actually a huge mistake I made, was going too small to begin with. Okay, going too small to begin with, it's easier to lose money on small deals. Now, hypothetically on let's just say a small little deal, like I just made an offer on a small deal. I made an offer for $900,000, but I think it's going to be worth $1.8 million. I think we're going to double the value of this deal, or we're going to buy it for $900,000. It's probably going to be worth between $1.6 and $1.8. Depending within the next few years, once we can get the current tenants out, clean it up a little bit. I mean, that's an easy 1, 2, 3 type of deal. I think the deal is incredibly underpriced. But most of the time, I'm not going to do small deals, right? Obviously, I don't have personally unlimited money, so I'm not going to be, like some of these gurus who claim that they have unlimited money. I don't have unlimited money, okay? So I need to make every one of my dollars count. and I'm going to put it into good deals. I want to find good opportunities, easy opportunities. One of those, again, big mistake is that they invest in too small of stuff. Okay, that's number one. Investing in too small of stuff. It's much easier to lose money on small stuff because also your buyer pool for when you're trying to sell it, right, is limited. It's very limited. Problems when I do talking in cigars. The cigar goes out sometimes if I talk for too long without. Okay, so that's one. Too small deals. Do not get involved in small deals unless you're going to do it by yourself, and that's all the money you got. I can understand starting small. Grant Cardone talks about doing only big deals. Don't do the small deals. I understand both sides of the coin. However, once you start getting the ball rolling, I want you to understand you can lose money. It's much easier to lose money on small deals. Okay, it's much harder to lose money on bigger deals because the buyer pool. There's a lot of people with a lot of money out there, and when you have a good looking deal, it's much easier for that to sell it to other investors, right? Bigger investors, right? Because other investors, like think about it. If you buy a 100,000 square foot warehouse, it's actually much easier to. It's very low risk unless you're overpaying for it. Because there's a lot of people looking for that type of product. Drop some questions in the chat box, by the way. If you want to get any questions answered, we're going to rip through it. So that's number one. Number two, okay, big mistake for commercial real estate agents is that they try to list everything. Okay, big mistake number two for commercial real estate agents. They try to list everything. Number one, they do too small deals. I'll even say this: the people who try to do too small of deals, as on the investor side we discussed, but on the agent side, the problem is when you do too small deals on the agent side, you make too little money. You make way too little money. So you're working really, really hard, and then you collect a commission check, and it's $10,000. Okay, it's very hard to get away, or it's very hard to get ahead in life when you're only making 10 or 20 grand per deal, and you got to pay a broker, and you got to pay taxes and all this nonsense. Okay, questions here. Hi, Henry. Would you talk a little bit about cold calling for buyer hunting or for off-market deals? No problem. So, for finding buyers, very simply put, okay, you could do this through Reonomy, you could do it through CoStar, Crexi, PropStream, I don't care how you're going to do it, but you go into the software, and to find a buyer, all you do is you look up your property type. So let's say you're looking for a multifamily. You look up all the multifamily sales in the last 2 years in that location, and you see every single person who's bought a property. So if you have a 20-unit multifamily, you look at all the properties that have sold, all the 10 to 50-unit deals that have sold in that local market in the last 2 years. And you call up every single one of those buyers and you say, hey, Bob, my name's Henry, EXP Commercial, giving you a call today because I have a couple off-market properties, and I saw you bought a property here at 127 Main Street, and I was just curious if you'd be open to buying another property if it was for sale. It was a good deal, right? That's it. That's it. Okay? Very simply put. I saw you bought a property 123 Main Street, and I was curious if you'd buy another one simply just like that. I saw you bought a 12-unit for 100 grand a door. If I had another property similar to it, would you take a look at it? Right? The answer is probably always yes, especially if you vet them out. Okay? If you vet them out, it can be very simple. NDAs, we only get NDAs signed when a seller requests us to get an NDA signed. We'll always get an NDA signed. But if the seller doesn't request us to get an NDA signed, I don't get NDA signed. Okay, great question. Next is your opinion about building a 2-family luxury home in areas like Edgewater, Fort Lee, Cliffside Park. Look, if you can get it for a really, really, really good price, sure. It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite thing in the world. There's just so many variables. There's a lot of variables. I'd rather wholesale it and make, let's just say if you're going to buy land for $300, build it for $600, and sell it for $1.5 million. I'd rather wholesale it by locking it up for, call it buying it for $300, wholesaling it to the next guy for $500, making my $200 grand with no risk. He puts the $600 or $700 into it, and he has the risk of buying of selling it on the back end. I'd rather not have the risk. I want to de-risk myself. So like I was saying, the big mistake is when you go too small, you make too little. You work all this time, guys. Like think about it, selling. What the heck? It's like you go put in all this work to sell a piece of property, okay? And especially on the commercial side of the business, you put in all this work, energy, and effort. Weeks go by, months go by, many months go by, and then you sell this deal, and it's a $600,000 property, and you make 3%, and you make 18 grand. You got to pay your broker 30%, so 5,400 off the top, and you only walk with like 12.5 grand, and then you're expected to pay taxes and pay your bills on the 12.5 grand. You cannot get ahead. Okay? You cannot get ahead. You must prospect deals where your average commission needs to be around 100K. And I know it sounds stupid, and I don't want to come off as one of those freaking gurus who talks about it's so easy. It's not easy, it's simple. It's about what you prospect. You prospect what you sell, right? So if you want to sell more expensive properties, you have to target more expensive properties. And if you're in the middle of Arkansas, okay, somebody just sent me a deal today. I was talking to a guy. He's like, oh yeah, I have this great deal, 200 grand. I'm like, there's no money. It doesn't matter. It's in the middle of Arkansas, number one. But number two, it's like, there's not enough money to get me excited about the deal, okay? I'm in contract right now to buy a deal. I'm gonna explain to you something. We have a deal, okay? Seller wanted $300,000. We knew the property was worth about, high twos, 275, 280 range, okay? I offered him 150 grand to buy the property, okay? I offered him 150 grand to buy the property, okay? And at first, he told me I was absolutely out of my freaking mind. But he was like, look, if you can close in 30 days, I'll take 225, okay? So we start pitching the deal out at 275, because that's what I thought it was worth. Pitch it out a little bit, kind of fell underneath the, it got caught up, it got swept under the rug or something else. I got busy doing other deals. And then we came across this deal again. I went back to the guy and I said, listen, the best number I can get you is 180, okay? Called him back up and I said, the best number I can give you is 180. Okay, this is a tiny little baby deal. And you guys know that I don't like doing small deals, okay? He says to me, listen, if you can get me a net of 195 is my best number, I'll do the deal. But I need to close in 30 days or less. We ended up pitching the deal out, okay, at 300. This time we got an offer for 280 grand. So I'm in contract to buy this property for 195 grand. Okay, by the way, I negotiated a $5,000 deposit, nothing crazy. $5,000 deposit, and I have a buyer paying me 280,000. So we're wholesaling it, and we're gonna make 85 G's. Now look, after closing costs and a few other things, we're probably gonna walk away with 60 grand. Okay, maybe 60, 65, 70 if we're lucky. I doubt it. Okay, but my point is, we're going to be able to walk away with $60,000 to $70,000 on a $200,000 deal, okay? Way better than a 5% commission at 200 grand and making 10 grand, right? Way better. All right. Whew. By the way, if you like the content, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Great to meet you guys. All right, just joined EXP commercial. Congrats on September plus October production. Thank you. Is it worth it to find a commercial team or just grind out on my own? Look, there's pros and cons of both. If you guys, if you personally are okay with not making money, number one, you're not going to make money for probably 6 months to a year, regardless of what you do, right? If you join a team or if you do it by yourself and you're brand new to the commercial real estate business, it's probably going to be a little while before you start making a bunch of money in this business, right? Like you're starting a brand new business, don't expect to make a bunch of money very quickly. That's number one. So whether you do it by yourself or you do it with other people, it's going to take some time. So as long as you understand that, the next couple things are important to understand as well, but that's number one. Number two is the only reason why I would join a team, by the way, is if you're long-term thinking, right? You want to make great money for a long period of time. If you want to shortcut your way to success because of systems and processes other people have built out, I think teams can be very lucrative, right? Whether it's my team or anybody else's, I think a lot of people will do better in the long run on a team, right? In the short run, you might do better by yourself because if you close a deal, you might think you're doing better because, 100K commission as an example, you get to collect more of that yourself, but it might take you longer to figure it out. So I'd probably say join a team. Let me know where you, by the way, you can email me at info@henryeisenstein.com, or in the description down below, you can book a call with me and my team, and we'll see, if you're a good fit. We might be able to support you in other ways, okay? I wish you the best of luck, my friend. Reach out, though, Josh. It looks right, Josh? Yeah. So reach out. We'd love to be able to support you. So, George says, I have recent success with getting non-exclusive commission agreements. Okay. And then they say, or not to market the property. How do I convince sellers to say, yes, I'm interested in selling and allow me to market it? So listen, when you call up these individuals, you have to be clear with them. Okay. Be very clear with them. Listen, hey, my name is Henry, EXP Commercial. I have a few buyers looking at a property like yours in the area, and I was just curious if you'd be totally against the idea of selling it, okay? He says, no, I'm open to the idea of selling it. If you can get me my price, okay, great. And you start diving into the details about the property. You don't need to get an exclusive signed or any of this document or a commission agreement signed. You don't have to get that signed in order to bring it to a buyer. Legally, you don't need to do that. Now, you run the risk of them going around you, of course. We've talked about this, okay? Right? I'm not saying don't get documents signed. There's just a lot of instances where I don't get docs signed, okay? Where a lot of corporate-esque brokers will say, go ahead and, sign they'll push to sign a listing where I just don't care, right? It's just an extra piece of paper that really doesn't mean much to me. I'm not putting it on the market anyways, right? So what's important to realize that you don't need the commission agreement in order to market the property. And by the way, market is just in front of a buyer. So you can legally put it in front of another buyer. That's fine. You don't need a document signed in order to do that. Okay? That's not a legal document. By the way, if you'd like me to do more of these live streams, make sure you give this a thumbs up. It really helps me out. It helps out a lot. So make sure you do so. I would appreciate it. So let's get back to the couple of big mistakes that brokers and investors make. Number one, going too small. On the investment side, it's easier to lose money. And on the broker side, it's very hard to get ahead financially if those deals are too small and you're making $10,000 or $20,000 commission checks, or even $30,000 commission checks, and then you got to pay a broker a third of it. So it's very hard to make money, to get ahead financially. Okay, that's one. So you have to go bigger deals, do bigger deals. Very, very smart. Okay, start prospecting deals. Minimum average sales price should be targeting is $2 million. $2 million plus is my game. $2 million to $20 million is our bread and butter on my team. Okay, we do a few $100 million a year in sales. If you target $2+ million, like we're working on a deal right now, like I was talking about before, $200,000 deal, we're going to make $60,000 to $70,000. Working on it, we just closed on a deal earlier this month, $10.5 million. We made $200,000. Right? The deal right before that, we closed out for another $200,000 commission check. Right? When you're doing bigger deals, or even slightly bigger deals, right? One was $10.5 million, another one was $4 million. We just closed on a deal for $1.775 million. Right? When you're making bigger commission checks, right? It's much easier to get ahead financially. So you have to target minimum sales price 2% commission. Okay? What's the best response when a seller asks you to take a pay cut when you bring them something below what they wanted? Okay, so what you do is you do this. Anytime you present an offer, you take whatever offer you have, you take your commission out, okay? It's always net to seller commissions. That's what you talk about. Net. Okay? You talk about net to seller. So when you're talking to a seller, you call them up and you say, let's say the seller wants $1 million, okay? And you bring them an offer for $900,000, okay? Or you have an offer for $900,000. You have a buyer who's willing to pay $900,000. I will then offer the seller $850,000 so I can make $50,000, okay? Or I might be a little bit more because 6% on 900 is what, $54,000. $850 is probably fine, right? And then the seller comes back and says, listen, my best number is $950. I need to walk away with $950 or I'm not doing the deal. Okay, I will go back to my buyer and say, listen, the best number the seller's willing to do is $1 million to make sure I'm always netting the amount of money I want to net. So when I'm talking to a seller and presenting an offer, I always talk in terms of net to seller. When you talk to a buyer, you always want to talk to the buyer of net to seller plus compensation. Okay, the best price we can do is net to seller plus your compensation. It's the best way to negotiate those deals, okay? Okay, so now we know not to do small deals. Let's talk about mistake number 2. Mistake number 2 is that they spend too much time on deals that actually don't make any money, okay? I see this all the freaking time. So many real estate agents get caught up. They get caught up in trying to sell every single deal they come across, which is just a terrible way to do business, okay? Just because a seller wants to sell does not mean you're going to sell the property, okay? Just because they're open-minded to selling for some price, right, does not mean you're actually going to sell the property. They are not the same thing, okay? There means that, obviously if someone wants to sell, that's step 1 in the process. That's a good sign, but it does not mean, or does not have any correlation with the actual, feasibility of you selling this deal. Let me explain what I mean. So when you have a deal and a seller says to you, hey, I'm open to the idea of selling, right? Like I'm open to selling. You need to then underwrite the property, evaluate the deal. Is there a clear path to making money in this deal? Because there's a lot of instances in which there is not a clear path to making money. There's just not. And guess what? If there's not a clear path to making money, then shockingly, not shockingly, I'm being sarcastic, I would not be spending a lot of time on that deal. I just wouldn't. But there's a lot of people who do. There's a lot of people who spend too much time on those deals. There's a lot of people where what they do is that they find this lead. The individual says, I'm open to the idea of selling. I want $1 million, even though it's only worth 600. I literally had someone bring me a deal the other day. The seller wanted $1.7 million, and I think the property is maybe worth $600 or $700 okay? But this individual is so determined. My dog really wants to come outside, but I'm never going to let her, never allowed her. I never want her around to smoke. So anyway, she scratched at the door like crazy. It's okay, Zoe, lay down. Lay down. She's so upset she's not next to me. So, I was like, guys, like the seller wants 1.7, but I think it's worth $600 or $700. I'm never going to spend a ton of time on this deal. I'm going to offer them. I'll send them a starter offer, and I'll say, listen, I talked to a few buyers. The best price I have for you is $650,000. Okay, and because I think I can maybe sell it for $700. Okay, not trying to make a ton of money, but they're way off on price. And if they come back and they say you're out of your mind, you don't know what you're talking about, you don't know my market, you don't know this, you know, blah 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 blah. So be it. I don't care. I don't care. It's not about that. I want to sift through all the leads that I can, and I want to find the few, not the many, the few in which I have the highest likelihood of getting to a closing table. Now, my team generates a lot of leads, so we have a lot of these opportunities that come across our plate, but which is majority more than most people. However, we come across the same kind of leads you guys do, where there's going to be a lot of those opportunities where they want way too much money, and that's okay. It's allowed to want too much money. I'm an individual who owns commercial property. I want too much money for my property. You can either pay me too much money, which hopefully I'm closing on a big deal this week, actually, multi-million-dollar deal, and I'm excited about it. Partner's making great money in this deal. Well, I own it 50-50 with the partner. We bought it for $1.35 million, and we're selling it for $2.3 million. So, very excited about that deal. Each making quite a bit on our money, which is nice. So what's important though is understand is when you hunt deals, not every property that you come across is going to make sense for you to try to sell it. And it's okay. That's just normal. That's how the business works, right? But you have to be able to understand and how to decipher, okay, which ones are actually going to make money, or which ones do you have a high likelihood of possibly making money, and which ones do not have any likelihood whatsoever of selling and making money, okay? You need to be able to figure that out as fast as humanly possible. And this is something I talk about all the time. Justin says, hey, it looks like you're doing much better since the container accident. I appreciate that. Hope I'm doing well. Yeah, it's still screwed up. I can't even make a fist anymore. Like, this is the best I can do right now. But we're trying. We're figuring it out. So I appreciate that. Definitely still screwed up. And it's a very unfortunate thing. But You can see like this palm, I have that cut across my palm. I have this finger that's cut up. You know, these fingers are really screwed up. You can see that I was cut up all the way up and down the entire finger. And then on the back of this thumb, you can see the cut there. I was cut everywhere. 60 stitches across all my fingers. What other questions we got, guys? What other questions do we got? By the way, business planning workshop, December 10th, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. If you're interested in joining our business planning workshop, block it off in your calendar right away. We're going to have the website so you can register completed by end of day Sunday. So by Monday this week, we're going to have the website set up so you can pre-register. If you pre-register, by the way, it's free. It's 100% for free. I have nothing to sell you guys. I just want to help you guys make more money next year. 100% for free. But if you pre-register, you're going to have access to the private Zoom call, okay, that I'm doing during the training, okay? Because it's going to be live on YouTube, just like this, okay? It's going to be live like this, except I'll be on my, my computer, the whole whiteboard, the whole nine. There's going to be a slide deck, all that kind of stuff. If you're interested in tuning in, make sure that you guys stay tuned. You can also, if you want to, make sure you pre-register. DM me on Instagram, BPW, Business Planning Workshop, December 10th, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. I'd love to have you join me. But you're going to be able to access, if you pre-register, you're going to be able to get access to the private Zoom room where after the training, we're going to do a private Q&A. Okay? So if you guys would like to have access to that, make sure you guys pre-register this coming week. Very excited for that. You can DM me on Instagram, BPW, Business Planning Workshop. Okay? What type of cigar? I am smoking a Palencia. One of my favorite cigar brands, Palencia. Okay, shout out Palencia. Next, have you noticed a change in call KPIs with Apple and Google call screening? No, make more calls, baby. Make more calls. I mean, obviously, you experience the stupid AI voicemails and stuff like that more, which I've noticed, obviously. But make more calls. Next one is a question. Really want to make the jump from corporate finance to commercial real estate sales. How does one figure out their niche, and how long does it normally take for new agents? I would give yourself a few year runway. Like, I would get your license and then do it on the side. And then you can refer people out to other people, work deals with somebody that you trust. But it's going to take you probably 2 to 3 years to make some serious money. I have 20-something-year-old kids on my team where this year they're going to make over 400 grand in GCI. One's like 3+, another one's 4+. Depending on how the rest of this year pans out, another guy could be at like 6+. We'll see. We're working on another big deal for him. So excited about that. But again, they've been with me for 2+ years, right? So it takes some time. And obviously when you're on a team like ours, you have systems and processes that make it easier to make money. But, finding a niche also is not that difficult. If you reach out to me, info@henryeisenstein.com, email me some more details and I can give you a little bit more of a clear idea, unless you want to give me more details here. But, a niche is not that difficult. Focus on simple ABC 1, 2, 3 type of product. Shopping centers, multifamily, or industrial. Choose one of them, rip it, build up a buyer's list, call it a day. Okay. Earlier you mentioned people want $1 million for a $500,000 property. Yes, just had one like that the other day. He said he turned out $1.2 million. I told him to call them as fast as you can. I agree. We see these all the time, man. Right? It's like it's so funny, by the way. Anytime that somebody's like, oh yeah, well, I was offered X, I'm like, I always like, why didn't you take it? Tell me, why didn't you take it? Well, blah, blah, blah. Well, blah, blah. Okay, so if I got you an offer the same price, would you have taken it now? Yes. Okay, I suggest you call them back. Because no one's paying you that right now, because the market is not at that price. And I'm pretty sure that person, let me ask you, when did they offer you that price? When did you get that offer? Well, 2020, 2021, 2022? Obviously, because interest rates were freaking 2%. No shit. Go to bed. Go to bed. Go to bed. My dog's looking at me. She's so cute. I love her so much. I I don't have their contact anymore. Yeah, no shit. Exactly. What do you think of VAs? VAs can be very, very, very helpful. Well, my dog's going to bed. It's the funniest and cutest thing in the world. I love VAs can be very, very, very helpful. However, I want to be very, very clear about something. Okay, you have VAs do $5, $10, $20 an hour work. Okay, they do not make your prospecting calls. They do not do your follow-up calls. They can help you be more organized with your database. They can help you make sure that every lead is on a follow-up campaign. They can help you respond to certain things and make sure you're getting back to people as fast as humanly possible. They can do your LOIs. They can manage your emails. They can help you with transaction management. They can do a lot of these little things, but they do not do anything client-facing. They can only do things that are you-facing, right? Your emails, making sure that, tagging certain things, deleting certain things right away. You can have them draft letters of intent. You can have them do, prep a lot of this different stuff for you to make it easier for you to do your job. I have lead managers, right? A VA lead manager. I have a VA executive assistant. I have VAs that help us with transaction management. I have VAs that help us with marketing. All this stuff that isn't client facing, we have VAs do. But VAs should not be the ones on the phone. Never. Okay? Okay, on niches, one I've been working recently in my market is gas stations. Good niche. They're mismanaged and have a lot of upside for the buyers who know what they're doing. I like it. Lots of rural land. Lots of rural mom and pop gas stations. I agree. That's great. No one is prospecting them. They look at me like I'm one of the only people who can help. It's great. Awesome. By the way, I have a lot of gas station buyers, so if you need buyers for your stuff, email me, info@henryeisenstein.com. By the way, anybody who has interesting deals, if you have a seller who's interested in selling, I will make sure you're protected 100%. I do deals with people from all over the country. I have lots of buyers looking for good product. But I do, I want to be very clear. I want to tell you, my biggest pet peeve, though, is that do not send me a deal that's listed, and do not send me a deal that you're not direct to seller on, okay? You must be direct to seller, and it must be off market. I can look on LoopNet, guys, right? Unless the deal is so good, it's like unfreaking believable, and you're good friends with a real estate agent, and you know you can make a good deal, it's probably not something I'm going to be able to help you on, okay? In practice or tactically, how do you talk people down from an unreasonable selling price? Great question. Okay. Well, I'm going to say it to you very bluntly, Conrad. Being blunt about interest rates is okay. I feel like everyone knows that maybe the deal is okay, and sincere. You posted about, yeah. So listen, here's the thing. If a seller's not that motivated, you have to be able to decipher. Is this somebody who is externally price motivated or price motivated, okay? Let me explain. If someone's price motivated, I'm price motivated. I don't want to sell my property, but if you offered me $10 million for a property that's worth $8, I'm going to sell it, okay? If you, as an example, call me up and say, hey, would you consider selling your properties? I'm going to tell you I want probably 10 or 20% more than market price, okay? Because I don't need to sell it. My properties are in good positions. I don't need to sell them. So if I do sell them, I want to make sure I sell them for a great price, okay? 5, 10, 20% over market value. Okay? That's price motivation. External price motivation is anything other than price motivations. Those people who are externally price motivated, okay? That means that price is not their driving factor to sell. They're open to selling and it's not a price thing. They just want to make sure that it's a terms thing, right? I want to sell this property as soon as humanly possible. I'm willing to sell it for less because I need to get this off my plate. I can't deal with the management. I can't I don't live in the state anymore. I don't want to, I don't want to deal with this anymore. All that kind of stuff. That's externally price motivated. So you have to decipher these things. If someone is price motivated, stop thinking that you're going to get this deal done and try to talk them off a ledge, because there's no ledge. There's no ledge. There's nothing to talk them down from. You're not going to talk to me of somebody like someone like me who is price motivated. I don't want to sell, don't need to sell, but if you call me up and say, would you consider selling? I'm always going to tell you yes, because I'm open to selling, but you're going to overpay me for it. So when you talk to somebody like me, as an example, it's just price. And there's no ledge to talk me off of. But what you can do is you want to make sure you continue to prospect until you find people where it's not a price thing anymore. Okay? Case in point. Because I don't want you to waste your time. Don't waste your time, guys. It's terrible. I hate when people waste your time. I hate wasting my own time. you know? Everybody thinks everyone can be talked off a ledge, or you can educate them. They don't want to sell. Case in point, and that's okay. Hello, Henry. Thank you for all the valuable content you share. You are so welcome. It's been incredibly helpful. I'm glad to hear it. I just completed my coursework to become a real estate agent. Congratulations. That's awesome. That's amazing. Happy to hear it. I plan to start out in residential, but my long-term goal is to transition into commercial real estate. Which niche would you recommend I focus on first as I get started? Small multifamily. Get into small multis, okay? Anybody? Give me a second. That was a huge bee. God damn. That thing was gigantic, the size of my freaking finger. Woo! Oh my goodness. It's like coming back for more. I'm about to fight this guy. I'm about to do some karate. Jesus Christ. This guy came up to wanted to fight me. He put on some boxing gloves. God damn. Holy crap. I haven't even seen a bee in this area in a long freaking time. Jesus Christ. I killed that guy. He's dead. Goodbye. Woo! That thing was massive. Holy shit. I flicked him. And then he came back to fight for more. That was wild. I've been in Florida for 2 years now. I haven't seen a bee once. This is the first time I saw a bee. And now he's dead. So, small multifamily. If I had to get started in the residential business again, I would do two different things, okay? I'd either go hyper luxury, okay? Hyper luxury, or I would get into 2, 3, and 4 families, okay? When I say small multis, 2, 3, and 4 families, okay? I'm not saying small price points, but I'm saying multifamily, okay? Especially if you wanted to get into commercial real estate. If your goal is to get into commercial real estate, do small multifamilies, okay? 2, 3, and 4 units. If your goal is to just make as much money as humanly possible, get into residential luxury properties. If you're doing residential real estate, get into luxury houses. You have to get into luxury. If you're in anything besides luxury, it's gonna be hard to make money. It's gonna be hard to make money. It's gonna be hard to make money. Small multifamilies or luxury real estate. That's it. If you're in residential houses right now, stop selling single families unless you do luxury real estate. $2+ million houses. Okay, $2+ million houses. Fine, I'll give you a pass. Okay, I'll give you a pass. Or if you're going to be in residential houses and there's not really any luxury near you, or you don't want to do luxury, whatever. Small multis, 2, 3s, and 4s. You know why? Because the reason why I would say small multis is because you can buy the best deals. So when a 2-family comes along, buy it. If a 2, 3-family comes along, it's a great deal, buy it. If a 4-family comes along, great deal, buy it. Okay? You sell a few of them, you buy a few of them. Okay? So I'm speaking tomorrow, private event, and a good friend of mine. And one thing I'm going to be talking about, okay, is getting your priorities aligned. Okay? I am one of those people that, look, I see all the stupid gurus that all of you guys do, and I keep talking about this because this is just like, I just am so hung up on this. There's so many fake pieces of garbage out there, okay? Especially because now I live in Miami. Okay, this is my house here in Coral Gables. We just moved here earlier this year. I'm very happy here. And anyways, there's so many fake freaking coaches of coaches out here who really haven't ever built a business, but they make an absolute ton of money, okay? Doing courses, selling coaches on how to be coaches. And it's the dumbest thing in the entire world. And God bless them. I mean, like, you know, God bless. I just think it's full of shit. They wear crazy expensive watches. They drive stupid cars because they actually don't understand how to build wealth. They're not trying to build wealth. They're just rich. Which, by the way, kudos to them for being rich. I care about being wealthy, okay? Whatever you dictate is rich. I've hit that number when I was 24 years old. I've been making, net over 600 G's a year at 24, 25. By 26, I was making $1 million a year. And I haven't made less than $1 million a year since. Okay, so like, I've made plenty of money in my career. But what I care more about, instead of looking rich, okay, and appearing richer than I am. Okay, and instead of that, okay, guys, I'm wearing a Lululemon t-shirt. I'm wearing the OG Rolex that I bought when I made my first $100,000 net month. Okay, I care more about investing in real estate because I want to be the guy at 40. I'm 31 now. I just turned 31. I want to be the guy at 40, at 50, at 60, at 70, at 80, where I have so much freaking cash flow coming in month after month. So my net worth is so ridiculous that I don't need to work anymore. These people, because they spend all their money on Richard Mille watches or Ferraris or Lambos or Rolls Royces and all that stuff. And by the way, I'm a huge Rolls Royce fan. I'm excited to buy my first Rolls Royce. But I've set a goal for myself that I have to hit certain benchmarks with my cash flow, okay? Because I will only buy the stupid shit out of my cash flow, okay? I will only buy stupid shit with cash flow. And if you can't afford it with my cash flow, like I cannot afford to buy a $100,000 Richard Mille watch out of my cash flow right now, okay? I cash flow between like 21 and 27 grand a month, okay? Depending on our collections, okay? So, and my distributions. So for me, it's like, I'm not gonna buy a Richard Mille right now. I'm not gonna buy a Patek Philippe, okay? I can afford it with my cash in my account, but I cannot afford it with my cash flow, so therefore I can't buy it, okay? So, just one of those things. Do I wholesale commercial properties? Yes, I'm literally under contract to wholesale 3 commercial properties as we speak right now. 2 warehouses and a small mixed-use property. Okay, one we have locked up for $400,000. We're going to wholesale it for between $800,000 and $1 million. One for we're in contract for $1,080,000, and we're going to wholesale it for $1.3 million. And then we have a deal we're under contract for $195,000, and we're going to try to, and we're in contract to sell it for $280,000. You said send out an LOI before you are buying deals, personally, wholesaling, etc. You said send out LOIs, but I'm not understanding the question. I'm sorry. If you're a broker, do you usually get paid on the seller side or buy side? Always the seller side. I always get paid by the seller. So even if I'm making drafting an LOI, I still make sure that it says that I'm getting paid 6% commission on my deal. Now they might tell me to take 5, or they say, hey, I want to net actually a little bit more money. Like, I only care about their net number, right? Seller wants to net X, I'm going to make sure they net X or as close to it as possible, right? So I'm just going to try to make the delta. The way we get paid is we get paid the delta between what the sellers wanting to sell for, right? Their net number, and what a buyer's willing to pay. That's what I get paid. And the better negotiator that I am, and the better and higher quality buyers that I have, right? And the better negotiating I can do with a seller, the more money I can make. Okay, what's the difference between land or residential? I don't do assignment fees. I'm the principal of every transaction. I buy deals. I am the principal. Okay? What's the difference between land and residential? So, I mean, obviously it can be a lot, or it can be very little, right? Because you could be in a residential neighborhood and you have a residential piece of property. So they can be, land though is the one thing that there's a couple differences, right? Because there can be commercial land, which there's a lot of differences between a commercial piece of property, a piece of land, versus a single family house. Lots of differences. You're going to care about zoning and a lot of other things. Okay, so zoning is number one, but land, there's an opportunity. I mean, like it'd be much faster contracts, right? Because like if it's just pure land in a residential neighborhood, as an example, and it's just a clean lot, you can sell these properties like clockwork. You can burn and churn land very easily. There's a lot of people who make pretty good money doing land deals because what they do is they find a piece of land in an area where they can build and sell a house. Let's say that you can lock up a piece of land for 50 grand and then wholesale it for 70 grand to make 20,000 bucks, and you can close it in a week or two because there's nothing. Only title matters, right? So because title, it's very easy to flip a piece of land. It's very, very easy to flip land. But when you're doing commercial land, which we do a lot more of, we don't do small little residential lots. But when we do commercial land, it can be a very, intense process, a very long process because they're trying to buy land. They're trying to buy land that has approvals, right? It's very common, very common. By the way, if you're interested in joining us, I'm hosting a business planning workshop December 10th, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. We have a link for registration on Monday. DM me right now on Instagram if you're interested in joining me. just BPW, okay? You can also email me, info@henryeisenstein.com. We'll make sure we get you a link so that you can register. It's a free event. There's no charge, okay? I'm doing it for free. It's going to be live here on YouTube. You just come to my channel, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on December 10th, and we're going to be able to connect, tune in. But people who pre-register are going to get access to a Zoom room where we're going to do a private Q&A after the training. So make sure you pre-register. Hi from Carlisle, Pennsylvania. What's up? Thank you for tuning in, guys. By the way, thumbs up. If you guys enjoyed this content, make sure you give this a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Where can I find you? Cold call scripts to use. I'm new to commercial real estate in KC, Kansas City. Nice. Focus on industrial real estate. Description down below has a free script book, which, by the way, script book 2.0 is coming out. It's going to have everything you could possibly need to make money in commercial real estate. Check that out. My book, mastering commercial real estate. Okay, we haven't finalized the title, but my book on commercial real estate that I wrote. I'm editing it right now with my father, who's published a couple books. So very grateful for that. So that's going to be coming out before the end of the year. So by the way, if you pre-register, you're also going to get a free copy, digital copy of my book. So make sure you pre-register. But my script book is in the description down below, completely free. Make sure you download it. Henry, spot on, flipping infill lots to developers pays my bills. Yep, love it. Bigger rural parcels subdivided takes months, if not years. I agree. We try to stay away from a lot of land, honestly. Unless it has full-blown approvals, it just can take a very long time. Hey, Henry in Jacksonville, Florida, awesome. How can I bird dog for you? Appreciate that. Email me, info@henryeisenstein.com. Let's talk. I have guys looking for larger multifamilies, and I have guys looking for industrial properties out there. Those are our two main things in Jacksonville. Industrial warehouses and larger multifamily, 50 plus units. Again, if you guys are enjoying the content, make sure you give this a thumbs up. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to go until this cigar is done, okay? So we got a little while longer. We got probably 15 minutes. So we're going to go for probably an hour. Let's do it. I've driving for dollars leads. I'll send you an email. Awesome. info@henryeisenstein.com. Can you send me the sign-up link here? Yeah. Just email me, info@henryeisenstein.com. If you are interested in signing up for the business planning workshop, you want the pre-registration link, email me, subject line, BPW, business planning workshop. We'll make sure we send you the application link for you to pre-register, okay? It's okay they don't have Instagram. That's totally fine. Just email me, info@henryeisenstein.com. The link's coming out on Monday. By the way, guys, I run a small business, okay? We do, probably between 4 and 5 million a year between all my businesses. The investment business and the rental collections, my brokerage business, which is, probably 80% of that, okay? And, the coaching business, okay? So it's I learned how to build websites. I built the website. So anyways, that's done. It's all going to be out. It's done. And I'm excited for you guys to be tuning in. Actually, by the way, what I can do here is maybe, I don't know. I don't want to jump out of this, but I don't think I can. Let's see. Can I? There's no way for me to do anything. Yeah. Anyways, email me, info@henryeisenstein.com. I'll make sure we send you the link. And by the way, it'll be in the description for a lot of videos going forward for you to register. You can also go to commercialrealtorcoaching.com/BPW. I believe that's already done. It should be live. You can register there. Okay. commercialrealtorcoaching.com/BPW. Okay. Or you can email me, info@henryeisenstein.com. We'll make sure we do that. What is the best way for a residential mortgage officer to help clients in the commercial lending space? Find a commercial realtor, a commercial lender, okay, and partner with him, and get referral fees. The referral side of this business is huge. You can make a ton of money in the commercial real estate lending space. Okay. Huge opportunity. You find a commercial lender, you can email me, info@henryeisenstein.com, and send me some details. I'll connect you with my commercial lender, depending on obviously where you're located, but he can do all over the country. So, and you can refer business back and forth, right? Or at least refer business to him. He does commercial lending. He can probably refer you some dollars for for the referral. Have you started the CRM? I sent an email during one of your lives about a trial. yeah, the CRM. I have a few last meetings with Go High Level to make sure everything's good. But hopefully within the next week or two, we're going to try to go live in the next week or two. But I'll keep you guys posted. I try to do, I tried to do things that actually it doesn't work with Go High Level. So I had to take a step back, make sure everything's good, because when I give it to you guys, I want to make sure everything's perfect. Okay. I started in April in commercial real estate firm focused in industrial real estate. I've done a couple small tenant deals. Congrats. Feeling discouraged. And like I have no plan. Any tips on staying motivated and how to get better? Okay, great freaking question. Stay with me for a little bit, okay? Where are you located, by the way? This is such a good cigar. Man. Of course, you're so freaking welcome, everybody. You are so welcome. By the way, BS Sherm 9092. Where are you located? Because I want to be able to give you some more tactical responses here. But again, you're new to the business this year. You've done a few tenant deals, feeling discouraged. So I want you to think about this business. This is actually something I'm talking about again tomorrow. Okay, which is this business is built for longevity. Okay, you've been in the industry for, this individual here is saying you've been in the industry since April. You're trying to build a business, okay? It will take time to make good money in this industry. You started a business from scratch, essentially, okay? So realize, I've been in this game now for over a decade, okay? I got in this business before my 21st birthday. I'm now 31 years old, okay? It took me 4 years. It took me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it took me almost, but in my 4th year, we made over $1 million, okay? Where I want you to understand, guys, it takes a long time. My first year I made, by the way, my first year in real estate, my first year ever, okay? Within the first 10 months, I made zero. My first 10 months, I made $0. So you are already ahead of me. So congratulations, okay? My first year, though, in my 11th and 12th month, I sold the deal. I sold a deal 11th month, 12th month. So I ended up making my first year in real estate. I made $29,000, $29,500 or something, $29,900, $29,700, something like that. Okay, I made less than 30 grand my first year in real estate. That was my first year. My second year in real estate, okay, because the first year in real estate, by the way, I was doing all the wrong stuff. I had a mentor, told me all the wrong things. I was a fantastic assistant. That's what I was. Okay, I was a fantastic assistant. My second year in real estate, when I started learning the game and making my cold calls and understanding what the heck's going on and doing all the right activities, started making prospecting calls, lead generation, I was an animal, okay? I made $39,950. I made less than 40 grand in my second year. My first year, I made less than 30, okay? So combined, in my first 2 years in the real estate business, first 2 full years, okay, in the real estate business, I made less than $70,000, okay? This month alone, okay, we've done 2, 3, 4, just under $500,000 this month alone, okay, in total fees so far. It would have been like 800, but I think a deal is getting pushed to next month, okay. I'm probably going to be we're at just under $500,000 this month, and we'll probably be at just about 700 for the month. It would have been almost $1 million by now, by the end of the month. But we should have closed on one more bigger deal, but it got pushed to November, okay. So I just want you to understand that, like, in my first 2 years in the business, I made less than $70,000, okay? But this industry favors the people who stay involved in the game, right? So I can empathize with where you're at, right? Because this industry will beat you up, it will chew you up and spit you out. If you are not, you have to think about it. This industry, it might be beneficial for most people for the first 2 years in this industry until you can start getting a good roll of business deals together, or of deals together, to just have a job, work a night job, work at a restaurant, be a bartender, drive Uber, get a corporate job that you can work nights, you can work from home, you can do all this kind of stuff. And by the way, that's normal that most people have to do that, right? It's not normal for most people to, most businesses, by the way, most businesses don't make a lot of money, right? So to come in this industry, yeah, I worked a night job working at FedEx as a manager. Good for you, by the way. I'm proud of you for having a job. Just know, stick with it, okay? Stick with it, because you will be so freaking grateful that you worked 18 hours a day, 19, 20 hours a day, and you grinded your face off for a few years, okay? It might take you 2 or 3 or 4 years of doing this, double work. But then there's going to be a moment where all of a sudden you closed a big deal or a couple big deals. You had an amazing year, and all of a sudden your life will change forever. Okay? Do not give up. This is the beginning of the next phase of your life, and it will take some time. That's normal. It's actually way more normal that you're experiencing what you're experiencing. It's actually abnormal for you to have like a huge, crazy huge year in 1 year. You know what I mean? Like in your first year. So just know everything you're doing is completely normal. Now, what I want you to understand though is it also depends on the work you're doing. I don't want to give you guys a weird. I don't have long pants on. I got shorts on. It's so freaking hot here in Florida, so I got to be careful leaning back. But you just need to make sure that while you're working, that you're giving it everything you got. Because the big mistake you're going to make, if you're working a night job, by the way, last thing I want to say about this, and obviously you can email me, info@henryeisenstein.com, and I can give, we can talk more about this at length, but this is very common for people, is that if you don't work 18 hours a day, like you give the real estate business, let's say 2 to 3 hours, and you give your corporate job 8 hours, and you work 11 hours, you're like, I'm working all day, every day. If you only give the real estate business part-time effort, it might take you 10 years to transition, okay? But if you work 8 hours a day, every day, which by the way is like working part-time, by the way, okay? I work 70 hours a week every week, even still, okay? Like this morning, I woke up and worked for the first 4 hours of my day, first 3 or 4 hours of my day on a Saturday. I'm live on YouTube right now for freaking an hour. I'm working, right? So I worked four something hours today, plus another couple hours when I got home. So I worked 6 hours today, plus a 70-hour work week, Monday through Friday. I work 12 hours a day, around 12 hours minimum a day, Monday through Friday, minimum, right? Hours a day minimum, Monday through Friday. That's 60 hours a week, bare minimum, okay? Because I work at least, 7 to 7 every day, Monday through Friday. Talk to my wife. She deals with that all day long. I mean, every week. I mean, she lives an amazing life. But someone says, "Who's prospecting for me?" I have a big team. I have a lot of agents prospecting. By the way, I say it with me. They prospect with me. I prospect with my team. Okay, I hit the phones too. I'm on the phones too. You see all the lead generation, all the phone calls? That's me too. I'm prospecting with my team. I prospect with my team. Nobody prospects for me. I prospect with people. Now, obviously, I have a lot of people who also are in and around the communities who are prospecting for their own business, and we end up doing deals together. So, slightly different. I feel so bad. My dog wants to come outside, but I won't do it while we're smoking. So next, when talking to a lead and getting into property situation, do you ever pivot between strategies? Bringing an offer versus wholesaling versus listing versus buying? All of it. Yes, of course. Right? All of it. So I want to be very clear. I don't go into any situation thinking that I'm going to do one thing or another. I never go into a deal thinking that I have to buy it or that I have to wholesale it or I have to list it. I dictate, okay? I figure out what I'm going to do later in the deal. Okay? Because I find out based on what the seller wants, okay? Price-wise, what the seller's willing to pay, what the seller is willing to accept net to them, okay? After my underwriting, I get to do a deep dive in their business and figure out what makes the most sense. And in some cases, it means listing it for sale. In some cases, it means brokering it off market, which is the majority of the time. And in some cases, in much fewer cases, it means wholesaling it. And then in the rarest occasion, the price is so good, we should just buy it. Right? So it just depends. And then so I'm constantly pivoting, right? We talk about this, the multi-lens strategy. What makes the most money and what checks the most boxes? I want the least amount of risk and the most amount of money and making everybody happy in the process. I want to make a seller happy, the buyer happy, make the most amount of money in the process. Call it a day. And sometimes that means listing it for sale. Sometimes that means wholesaling. Sometimes that means buying the deal. And sometimes it means off-market brokering. There's not one specific strategy that works, okay? Henry is the effing man. He gives zero BS. Appreciate that. I like to be very direct. I'm from New Jersey, for God's sakes. Okay? When competing for the business, how much weight do you prospects give towards national firms? Zero. Okay? Because we do something different than the national firms. The national firms are trying to, they're trying to get people to sign exclusives, okay? Zero. Let me explain why. When you're trying to get an exclusive for very large properties, like trying to take a listing, yes, exactly. When you're trying to take a listing, for sure, the larger properties, the bigger deals, of course, they're going to look at national firms versus, no names, okay? But what's different with us is that I go to these people and I say, hey, are you open? We have the same conversation. Would you be totally against the idea of selling the property? They say they're open to the idea of selling the property, okay? And what we do is we say, okay, great. I have a few buyers I'm going to put in front of them and try to get you the best price possible. I don't need the listing. So they don't care what company I'm from. You know what they care about? They want to net the most money possible. And if I can get them their number, why would they not do a deal with me? Because the difference with a corporate firm is that they're going to be like, you need to take it. We won't do anything with you unless you sign an exclusive. I don't need an exclusive. Let's do a deal. If you're interested in selling your commercial property, hit me up. I'm going to try to get you the best price possible. No exclusive necessary. No commission agreement necessary. No docs. No nothing. No, having to worry about paying me or all that kind of nonsense. Only if you sign a contract that makes you the amount of money you want net, then we can talk about my compensation. Okay? I don't need to worry about compensation until then. Still love watching the morning cold calling sessions. Appreciate that a lot. Keeps me motivated to reach out, having conversations. You never know where the next relationship will take you. 100%. I agree. It's interesting. I've been cold calling for almost a decade now, guys, okay? My team makes several 100,000 cold calls a month. And it is all about, you just never know, right? You seriously never know who you're going to get on the phone with. I'll give you a crazy story right now, okay? Crazy, crazy, at least crazy to me, okay? Maybe it's crazy to you guys, but I called up this guy 2 to 3 years ago, okay? Guy owns an industrial building in New Jersey. Older gentleman, okay? Very, go upstairs. My dog is still begging to come outside now. She came downstairs and now she wants to come outside. So, older gentleman, open to the idea of selling. I knew this, by the way, the building is just about 50,000 square feet. He said, he said he was open to the idea of selling. He owner occupies the building. I offered him $5 million 3 years ago, okay? The guy said I was out of my mind. He says, I have an appraisal for $9 million, blah, 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 blah. Okay? I kept following up. He said, we're not really in a rush to sell, and, all kind of stuff, right? I couldn't get him on the phone for almost 2 years. I called him back this week, and I went through my spiel again, and I cold called him this time. I cold called him and by the way, 3 years ago, I talked to him as a broker, and I said, hey, I have a buyer who would probably offer you $5 million. I called him as an investor this time, this week. Okay, this is a lead I called the first time 3 years ago. Okay, so a little bit of an older lead. I called him and I said, hey, we spoke a couple years ago. You said this, and this, clarified a bunch of information. Would you be open to sell? Yes, blah, blah, blah. And I offered the guy $8 million. It's probably worth $9 million. Offered him $8 million. He said he was open to selling it. I talked to his daughter and him on the phone. They want me to submit the offer. I'm going to offer him 2 different numbers, $7.5 million with a certain amount of money for a lease back, and then $8 million with a certain amount of money for a lease back because he needs a 1-year lease back. He owner occupies the building. and I'm going to try to, I might buy it. If he accepts $7.5 million, I'm going to buy it. If he accepts $8 million, I still might buy it. However, I have a buyer who would probably pay me $8.5 to $9 million. So if I can make $500,000 without doing any extra work, I'll probably just make $500,000, or $500,000 to $1 million bucks. I might just do that. Otherwise, I might just take, raise some money and we'll buy the deal. So it's like, you just never know. I called as a broker 3 years ago. He didn't want to do anything, and hopefully maybe we'll do a deal now. Maybe, who knows? But anyways, it's just about following up. You are a true legend. I appreciate that. Too kind. I appreciate that a lot. I'm actually with a national firm. Truth is, they would die to have your talent. I appreciate that. Well, I love where we're at now. I'll probably never start my own brokerage. I like where I'm at EXP Commercial. It allows me to sell real estate all over the country. They don't micromanage me, and I get to keep almost all my money, right? I pay a $20,000 cap. I get revenue share every year, by the way, from recruiting, the things in stock options. So I get paid more than my cap and my total expenses to the company. So like, I'm actually paid to be at this company. So like, I would just never leave. But I have nothing bad to say about other brokerages. All right, I'm the guy working at FedEx at night. Good for you. I'm going to take you up on that offer and email you the advice. Is that okay with you? Of course, yeah. Email me. That's what I'm here for. By the way, anyone, you can always email me. info@henryeisenstein.com. info@henryeisenstein.com. Reach out. Girl meets goal. Okay, I'm a new commercial real estate agent and have not bought CoStar or the other costly sites. I can understand. Do you know of any ways to get leads if you don't have access to those sites? Okay. I'll say it to you like this. Such a smooth cigar. Man. And I don't drink, so I just got a nice glass of water. That's it. Other people are drinking scotch or something ridiculous. I don't drink. Maybe an espresso martini on my birthday. So I'll say it to you like this. You only have so many options, my dear. One of them is you join a brokerage. Okay, you join a brokerage that has those softwares. Okay, you join a brokerage that has the softwares. Like EXP Commercial only offers CoStar, but that's they don't charge me much money here, right? So they only give you CoStar. Other companies that might charge you 50/50 or other, or even more aggressive splits, who knows? But they might offer you they might have a better tech stack, right? EXP Commercial, I didn't join the company because of the tech stack. I joined them because it's the least amount of money I need to give them, right, of any company. So, for me, it's like, why, I wouldn't join another company because I'd have to pay them too much money. But for you, at the very beginning of your career, I would join a company that offers you that entire tech stack. Okay, join a company or a team or anything like that. Like as an example, like us, where we can provide, like a team like us, or join a team. You could join a team like we provide lead lists to our agents, right? You don't have to worry about lead lists. You don't have to worry about a CRM. You don't have to worry about a dialer. You don't have to worry about CoStar. You don't have to worry about all that kind of stuff because we provide it. Okay, but there's a lot of brokerages that don't provide it. They don't, by the way, if you're part of a brokerage and they provide you nothing, I probably would just leave, okay? Because they need to be providing you with something, period. In that case, would you wholesale it? I mean, it depends on the price. Again, it depends on what number. If he agrees to $7.5 million, I might wholesale it for $1 million. We'll see, but I would also buy it. I mean, it's just a great asset to own. Great asset, good location. I like it. At $7.5 million, it would be an unbelievable opportunity. I'd be very happy to buy that. Henry, my brother, how's it going? How you doing? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. Alina says, new agent jumping into commercial real estate. Any tips? Watch every video I've ever posted. I'm not trying to be cocky, but I've spent a lot of time and I have 2,000 videos on YouTube, so lots of good content. But I would tell you, focus on generating leads. Just lead generation. Hit the phones like freaking crazy. Trying to have 30 or 40 conversations a day. My dog is literally going, I can see her going up the stairs because I'm outside of my back and I can see all through all the glass doors. I can see her walk upstairs. It's the cutest thing in the world. She goes right to bed. After we're done here, I'm going to take her for a nice walk. She's excited about that. So what's important to understand though, okay, is at the beginning of your career, it's all about generating seller leads. You need 10 to 20 good buyer leads that are looking to buy in and around your market. let's say whatever your asset class that you're going to sell is. So choose your niche asset class. Find 5, 10, 20 buyers that are looking for that specific asset class in your local market, and then hunt like a freaking mad woman or a madman. Okay, hunt like crazy for great seller opportunities. And if you just focus on that, okay, you have a bunch of good buyers and you're going to bring them those deals once you get it. Those two at the very beginning of your career, that's all you need. That's it. And that's the first thing I would focus on. What is the process of becoming a commercial real estate agent once you're licensed and have joined EXP Commercial? What is the process of becoming a commercial real estate agent once you're licensed and have joined EXP? There's no other process other than you just prospecting for deals, right? You just got to start prospecting for opportunities. That's it. I mean, by the way, you can be on EXP Realty. You can be a realty agent, okay, on the realty side, not EXP Commercial. You can be a realty agent, which is only a $16,000 cap and an $85 a month tech fee. Very affordable. And you can sell commercial real estate. They don't give you CoStar. You'd have to pay for that on your own, but you can sell commercial real estate right away. Okay. Can you explain how do you put together an off-market deal in New York and with a New York agent buyer side? I'm licensed in New Jersey only, buyer side. Okay. I just closed on a deal in New York. Okay, we just sold a mobile home park in New York. I'm not licensed in New York. We called up a seller. They said they were open to selling. I put it in front of a buyer. He said he was open to buying it. I negotiated the deal. Okay, seller said they wanted to net 1.7 million. The buyer said he would pay 1.775 million. Okay. And we were only able to make 3 points because the seller then renegotiated it, blah, blah, blah. So we only made like 53.5 grand, 55 grand, something like that, okay? But it was in New York, and we just closed the deal. I'm only licensed in New Jersey. Jay Pagram, shout out Jay, you're the best broker out there. We closed it out in Jay's license. Jay is licensed in New York, Connecticut, in New Jersey, okay? We closed it out in Jay's license, and then he paid me 100% of my commission. Done and done. Close out a deal in New York. I'm not licensed in New York. Close it out. And if they want $8 million, would you go to the buyer for $9 million? Yes. And have them draft a PSA for $9 million with you getting paid on the seller side? No. I would wholesale it. So I would buy the deal at $8 million. I would close on the deal for $8 million, and then I would sell it to the next person at $9 million. So I would wholesale it. I would buy it as a principal, A to B, B to C. There's not an assignment. In my world, I don't do assignments. I do 0 assignments. I don't ever do an assignment. Okay? Hi, Henry, trying to jump into commercial real estate, stuck between single family or commercial. Do both. Why not do both for a little bit? By the way, guys, I started in residential real estate. Okay? I sold hundreds and hundreds of houses. I made my first $1 million in real estate in single family houses and residential houses. Okay? You can still look at my Zillow profile. I've sold hundreds of houses, and there was hundreds of more houses on my Zillow profile, but other people claimed them because I guess they had resold or whatever, right? But funny enough, it still has hundreds of, over 200 plus sales in the few years that I did residential houses. So, and that doesn't include the flips that we did, the wholesale deals that we did, and all that kind of stuff. But you can do both. And then I sold one commercial property, and I made a bunch of money, and I was like, hey, I got to get more into commercial. So, many years ago, I got into commercial. So but commercial takes a lot. It takes a little while to build up. And by the way, in residential, you could probably do. I know some people who've done 5 or 10 or 15 sales in their first year because of their network. In commercial, it's hard to do 5 to 15 sales in your first year. You might do 1 sale in your first year. A little bit harder. I was under the impression that you had to be a specialized agent, like with luxury and things like that. Thank you. No, you do not. You do not need to be a specialist. I'm an investment sales specialist. If it makes money, I sell it. That's my niche, okay? Anything that makes money, we sell it. I don't care. Car washes, we've sold it. Gas stations, we've sold it. Hotels, we've sold it. Shopping centers, we've sold it. Any type of retail property, we've sold it. Multifamily, we've sold it. Industrial, we've sold it. Anything that makes money, we sell it. Hey, brother, I'm an agent in Key West. What's up, man? Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you. Love your videos. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. In the case, do you have to do DD and cover all closing costs, etc.? I assume you're doing a double closing. Yes, I have to pay my closing costs. Yes. I thought with EXP you could sell nationally, not worry about being licensed. Well, no. So you can sell in other states. You'd have to sell it through the broker of record in that state. So that's it helps us on the commercial side only. But you have to follow portability. You can look up EXP license portability map. Okay, you just have to follow the rules and regulations. We follow it all. I talk to the broker of record in those states, and that's it. Okay. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Okay, guys, listen. Again, we're doing our business planning workshop, by the way. Business planning workshop, December 10th, 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Commercial Realtor Coaching /BPW. It's going to be everywhere. You're going to see the link everywhere. Follow me on Instagram. You can DM me the BPW Business Planning Workshop, or email me at info@henryeisenstein.com. BPW subject line, and we'll send you the link to register. Everybody, by the way, it's free. It's 100% free. There's nothing to sell you. It's absolutely free. You just tune in here. It'll be live on YouTube just like this. You can tune in on, it'll be, again, December 10th. It's Wednesday, December 10th at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Block it off in your calendar. It's going to be a couple hours long, so make sure you block it off. So if you don't register, you can come join in for free. But for those of you who pre-register, you're going to have access to a private Zoom room where we're going to do a Q&A, okay? It's going to be a private Q&A after the training, so make sure you tune in and register for that. He says, okay, so the New York guy was the EXP broker of record. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. No, Zoe. My dog is like begging to come outside. I have a guy looking to buy a 50 to 100,000 square foot warehouse as a new broker. What would you do Monday morning with that conversation? What would that conversation look like? Okay, I would call every single, depending on what location he's looking for, I would pull a lead list of every property in that geographic location that he would buy that has that criteria. So I would pull every single warehouse in that geographic location, and I would cold call every single one of them, and I would just use my sales script, which is free in the description down below. You can download it. It's a script book and download it for free, okay? And just say like, hey Bob, it's Henry EXP Commercial. How you doing today? Doing great, thank you. We're wonderful. I was calling you today to see about your property on 123 Main Street. I'm working with a client who's looking for more properties just like yours, and I'm curious if you'd be totally against the idea of selling your property. Yes or no? Very quick, very direct. And I would call every single property that's above 50,000 square feet in your market. I would even probably do 30,000 to 150,000 just so you don't miss a few that are pretty close, okay? I would do that right away. And again, I am having a Palencia. That is the brand here, okay? I buy boxes at a time. I love sharing it with people. By the way, real quick, if you're in the Miami area, we're doing a Miami meetup next Thursday night. We're gonna smoke some cigars together. So if you're in the local market in Miami, you can DM me the word Miami meetup and I'll send you details. Hi Zoe. Yeah, we're gonna go potty in a minute, okay? You're my priority, I promise you. I love you so much. My dog's just staring at me through the window. Miami meetup next Thursday night, 7 p.m. Miami Beach. If you guys would like to hang out with me, smoke a cigar with me, hang out, mastermind, ask me lots of questions, just hang out and have a good time. We're gonna be out smoking cigars in Miami next Thursday night. I believe that is the 30th, okay? October 30th. Next Thursday night, we're going to be doing a Miami meetup, smoke some cigars together. Any last minute questions, drop them in the chat box. I got 2 minutes, and then I got to take my dog for a walk and go to bed. I got an early morning. I'm speaking tomorrow morning. I want to bring the heat. Okay. Yeah, by the way, you are so welcome, of course. You mentioned starting with one asset class first. I can't decide between retail or multifamily. However, if you're doing multifamily deals in Jacksonville, I'm in. I need real mentorship bad. I mean, look, again, if you want a coach, you can also go in the description down below and you can book a call and join our coaching community. We're well over 100 active members where we coach commercial real estate agents just like everyone here. And we teach you how to make your first $100,000. I literally guarantee you to make an extra $100,000. I'll coach you for free until you do, okay? I don't need the extra money. It's really like I'm going to guarantee you that you're going to make a 10x return or 10x plus return on your investment. I guarantee you that every person who enrolls in the program, it's in our contract that if we don't help you make at least an additional 100 grand in net GCI to you, or in total GCI, right? Obviously, I can't control your broker splits, but in total GCI, I'll coach you for free until you do. So book a call down below as well if you want to join the coaching community, or email me at info@henryeisenstein.com. You can ask more questions. If the warehouse owner says, I'm not looking to sell, how would you pivot the conversation? See if they want to buy. Like, oh, no, I'm not interested in selling. Okay, I can completely appreciate that. I know I'm cold calling you out of the blue. Would you be totally against the idea of buying another property similar to the one here at 123 Main Street? See if they're open to buying. And then you could say, if they say, no, I'm not open to buying. Okay, it's like, well, look, I know, I hear you. It sounds like you're doing your thing. You're doing good. Just curious though, do you happen to have any other properties that you may be more open to selling besides this one here at 123 Main Street? My buyer, super motivated, needs to buy something, ASAP. And is willing to pay top dollar for it. So do you happen to have anything else? So I would go, are you open to selling? No. You can say, you can maybe pivot also to, would you have anything else? No. Are you open to buying? No. If they're not open to any of that, you can say, are you 100% occupied? Do you happen to have any vacancy? Or just curious, is your building 100% occupied? And they say, yeah, we're at 100% occupancy. Okay, no problem. I was like, look, just out of curiosity here, at this point I'm just shooting in the dark, but is it even worth it for me to continue to follow up with you because maybe you change your mind in the future, or would you like me to take you off the list? Take me off the list, great. But I want to hit everything. First, property, the subject property, do you want to sell it? Pivot to, do they have another property? Pivot, do they want to buy something? And then pivot to leasing, okay? In a cold call, how do you pivot from buyer to a lease to a listing? So I'd be like, if you call them up and they say, hey, I don't want to sell, you're not going to list their property for sale, okay? But if they say they're open to the idea of selling, and you say, hey, I have a buyer who's in the market looking for a property just like yours, would you be totally against the idea of selling your property? And they say, yeah, I'm open to the idea of selling. Okay, great. You get all their information, and you'd be like, just out of curiosity, is this something that you were already planning on listing, or was this something that just like realistically, if it was the right price? Well, if it was the right price, I'd consider selling. Great. Let me, go get all their other information. Let me bring it to my buyer, and we'll try to make a deal happen. Okay, cool. And then if they say, well, no, I was actually considering, I've been considering selling for a while. I might consider listing it on the market. Great. Do you already have a broker, or are you open to having a second opinion? And you can go right into it. It's like, or do you already have a broker, or would you be open to the idea of having my team and I market the property for you, right? Very easy. You just have to have, these lines memorized. It's all in the script book down below. So download the script book. It's completely free. Just download it. It's down below. By the way, script book 2.0 is coming out in the next, this week, I think, as well. So we're just constantly trying to create more tools and resources to help you guys sell more commercial real estate. Other than that, guys, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so very much for following the journey. Thank you guys for tuning into this live stream. If you like these live streams, give me a thumbs up right now. If you like the live streams, or say yes in the chat box down below, because I can do a lot more of these live streams. I can do these more regularly during the week and just kind of come in and connect with you guys. If you guys like this, let me know if you guys enjoy the content, if you guys enjoy these live streams and just being able to communicate. Thumbs up if you can. Make sure to like this, say yes in the chat box. It means the world to me. Thank you guys for following the journey. A couple quick last minute things. Again, if you want the free script book, it's in the description down below. Make sure you download it for free. If you're interested in joining us at our Miami meetup, DM me on Instagram for the information. It's in Miami, Cigars, next Thursday, October 30th in Miami. We're going to smoke cigars and hang out together. If you're interested in joining the business planning workshop, the website I believe is live. It should be commercialrealtorcoaching.com/BPW, business planning workshop. Okay, email me or DM me on Instagram with BPW. Okay, DM me the word BPW or send me an email, subject line BPW, and I'll send you all the details you need to pre-register. It's free. Anybody can join it. If you want to set yourself up for success in 2026, make sure you immediately register, because a few things. Number one, if you don't register, you're immediately going to have access to the free live training here on YouTube. However, if you pre-register, everyone who's pre-registered, you're going to gain access to the Zoom room, the private Zoom room with me, where we're going to do a private Q&A after the business planning workshop. So if you want to have private access to ask your questions and make sure you got everything answered and make sure you have everything you need for an amazing 2026, make sure you pre-register. That's going to go live on Monday. Appreciate you guys for following the journey. I'm going to take my dog for a walk and then hit the hay, go to bed, and tomorrow I'm going to be speaking at an event here in Miami. So appreciate you guys for following the journey. Thank you guys so much. Peace out.